Question 1. What must you do when you're overtaking a car at night? D. Make sure you don't dazzle other road users. To prevent your headlights from dazzling the driver of the car in front, wait until you've passed them before switching to main beam. Question 2. What could you do to reduce the volume of traffic on the roads? C. Walk or cycle on short journeys. Try not to use your car as a matter of routine. For shorter journeys, consider walking or cycling instead. This is much better for both you and the environment. Question 3. You're at a junction controlled by traffic lights. When should you wait at a green light? B. When your exit from the junction is blocked. As you approach the traffic lights, look into the road you wish to take. Only proceed if your exit road is clear. If the road is blocked, hold back even if you have to wait for the next green signal. Question 4. What's the legal minimum tread depth for tires on your trailer or caravan? B. 1.6 millimeters. Trailers and caravans may be left in storage over the winter months, and tires can deteriorate. It's important to check their tread depth and also their pressures and general condition. The legal tread depth of 1.6 millimeters applies to the central 3/4 of a tire's breadth over its entire circumference. Question 5. You're driving on a single carriageway road. Why should you keep well back while you're following a large vehicle? B. To get the best view of the road ahead. When following a large vehicle, keep well back. If you're too close, you won't be able to see the road ahead, and the driver of the long vehicle might not be able to see you in the mirrors. Question 6. Which sign means you have priority over oncoming vehicles? C. Even though you have priority, be prepared to give way if other drivers don't. This will help to avoid congestion, confrontation, or even a collision. Question 7. Show me how you would switch on the rear fog lights, and explain when you would use it/them. No need to exit vehicle. D. All of the above. Most cars will either have a collar on the light stalk or a separate button with the fog light symbol. A warning light will illuminate on the dashboard to let you know the fog light is on. Question 8. An injured motorcyclist is lying unconscious in the road. The traffic has stopped and there's no further danger. What could you do to help? B. Seek medical assistance. If someone has been injured, the sooner proper medical attention is given, the better. Ask someone to phone for help or do it yourself. An injured person should only be moved if they're in further danger. An injured motorcyclist's helmet shouldn't be removed unless it's essential. Question 9. For how long is an MOT certificate normally valid? C. 1 year after the date it was issued. Some garages will remind you that your vehicle is due for its annual MOT test, but not all do. To ensure continuous cover, you may take your vehicle for its MOT up to 1 month before its existing MOT certificate expires. The expiry date on the new certificate will be 12 months after the expiry date on the old certificate. Question 10. Which button activates the rear demister? D. The rear demister sends a current through wires embedded in the rear window, clearing it of condensation. Not all cars have one, but most do. Question 11. You see a horse rider as you approach a roundabout. What should you do if they're signaling right but keeping well to the left? D. Stay well back. Allow the horse rider to enter and exit the roundabout in their own time. They may feel safer keeping to the left all the way around the roundabout. Don't get up close behind or alongside them because that would probably upset the horse and create a dangerous situation. Question 12. You're following a long vehicle as it approaches a crossroads. What should you do if it signals left but moves out to the right? B. Stay well back and give it room. A long vehicle may need to swing out in the opposite direction as it approaches a turn to allow the rear wheels to clear the curb. Don't try to filter through if you see a gap, as the lorry turns the gap will close. Question 13. Which of these signs warns you of a zebra crossing? A. Look well ahead and check the pavements and surrounding areas for pedestrians. Look for anyone walking towards the crossing. Check your mirrors for traffic behind in case you have to slow down or stop. Question 14. Which vehicle might have to take a different course from normal at a roundabout? D. Long vehicle. A long vehicle may have to straddle lanes either on or approaching a roundabout, so that the rear wheels don't mount the curb. If you're following a long vehicle, stay well back and give it plenty of room. Question 15. When should you use hazard warning lights? D. When your vehicle has broken down and is causing an obstruction. Hazard warning lights are an important safety feature and should be used if you've broken down and are causing an obstruction. Don't use them as an excuse to park illegally. You may also use them on motorways to warn traffic behind you of danger ahead. Question 16. You see a pedestrian carrying a white stick that also has a red band. What does this mean? D. They're deaf and blind. When someone is deaf as well as blind, they may carry a white stick with a red reflective band or bands. They may not be aware that you're approaching, and they may not be able to hear anything, so for example, your horn would be ineffective as a warning to them. Question 17. You're in a tunnel and you see this sign. What does it mean? A. Direction to an emergency pedestrian exit. If you have to leave your vehicle and get out of a tunnel by an emergency exit, do so as quickly as you can. Follow the signs directing you to the nearest exit point. If there are several people using the exit, don't panic, but try to leave in a calm and orderly manner. Question 18. When must your vehicle have valid insurance cover? D. Before you can tax the vehicle. Your vehicle must have valid insurance cover before you can tax it. If required, it will also need to have a valid MOT certificate. You can tax your vehicle online by phone or at certain post offices. Question 19. You're going to tow a trailer that's wider than your car. What must you fit to your car before you start towing it? A. Exterior towing mirrors. You must fit exterior towing mirrors to your vehicle if bullet your vehicle is narrower than your trailer, or load bullet your trailer or load obstructs the view behind you. Question 20. Which lights should you switch on when daytime visibility is poor but not seriously reduced? C. Dipped headlights. Only use your fog lights when visibility is seriously reduced. Use dipped headlights in poor conditions because this helps other road users to see you without the risk of causing dazzle. Question 21. Who's responsible for making sure that a vehicle isn't overloaded? A. The driver of the vehicle. Carrying heavy loads will affect control and the vehicle's handling characteristics. If the vehicle you are driving is overloaded, you'll be held responsible. Question 22. What does this sign mean? B. With flow cycle lane. Usually a picture of a cycle will also be painted on the road, and sometimes the lane will have a different colored surface. Leave these areas clear for cyclists and don't pass too closely when you overtake. Question 23. You're driving along this road. What should you do if the red car cuts in close in front of you? C. Drop back to leave the correct separation distance. There are times when other drivers make incorrect or ill-judged decisions. Be tolerant and try not to retaliate or react aggressively. Always consider the safety of other road users, your passengers and yourself. Question 24. Who should obey diamond-shaped traffic signs? A. Tram drivers. These signs apply only to tram drivers, but you should know the meaning, so that you're aware of the priorities, and are able to anticipate the actions of the driver. Question 25. You're driving past a line of parked cars. What should you do if a ball bounces out into the road ahead? C. Slow down and be prepared to stop for children. Beware of children playing in the street and running out into the road. If a ball bounces out from the pavement, slow down and be prepared to stop. Don't encourage anyone to retrieve it. Other road users may not see your signal, and you might lead a child into a dangerous situation. Question 26. You've stopped at a railway level crossing. What should you do if the red lights continue to flash after a train has gone by? C. Wait. You must always obey red flashing stop lights. If a train passes but the lights continue to flash, another train will be passing soon. Cross only when the lights go off and the barriers open. Question 27. Where would you see this road marking? B. On road humps. Because the road has a dark color, changes in level aren't easily seen. White triangles painted on the road surface give you an indication of where there are road humps. Question 28. When may you drive without wearing your seat belt? A. When you're carrying out a maneuver that includes reversing. You may remove your seat belt while you're carrying out a maneuver that includes reversing. However, you must remember to put it back on again before you resume driving. Question 29. What do the long white lines along the center of the road mean? B. Hazard warning. The center of the road is usually marked by a broken white line, with lines that are shorter than the gaps. When the lines become longer than the gaps, this is a hazard warning line. Look well ahead for these, especially when you're planning to overtake or turn off. Question 30. Where can you find reflective amber studs on a motorway? C. On the right-hand edge of the road. At night or in poor visibility, reflective studs on the road help you to judge your position on the carriageway. Question 31. How does drinking alcohol affect your driving behavior? B. It increases confidence. Alcohol can increase confidence to a point where your driving behavior might become out of character. Sensible behavior might change to risk-taking behavior. Never let yourself or your friends get into this situation. Question 32. What does this sign mean? C. End of minimum speed. The red slash through the sign indicates that the restriction has ended. In this case, the restriction was a minimum speed limit of 30 miles per hour. Question 33. An adult casualty isn't breathing. To maintain circulation, CPR should be given. What's the correct depth to press down on their chest? B. 5 to 6 centimeters. An adult casualty isn't breathing normally. To maintain circulation, place 2 hands on the center of the chest. Then press down hard and fast around 5-6 centimeters and about twice a second. Question 34. You're driving along a country road. You see this sign. What should you do after dealing safely with the hazard? D. Test your brakes. If your brakes have been thoroughly soaked, you should check that they're working properly before you build up speed again. Before you do this, remember to check your mirrors and consider what's behind you. Question 35. You're going through a long tunnel. What will warn you of congestion or an incident ahead? C. Variable message signs. Follow the instructions given by the signs or by tunnel officials. In congested tunnels, a minor incident can soon turn into a major one with serious or even fatal results. Question 36. Which sign shows that you're entering a one-way system? B. If the road has 2 lanes, you can use either lane and overtake on either side. Use the lane that's more convenient for your destination unless signs or road markings indicate otherwise. Question 37. What should you do when you see this sign at a crossroads? B. Carry on with great care. When traffic lights are out of order, treat the junction as an unmarked crossroads. Be very careful and be prepared to stop. No one has priority. Question 38. What will happen if you hold the clutch pedal down or roll in neutral for too long? C. It will reduce your control. Holding the clutch down or staying in neutral for too long will cause your vehicle to freewheel. This is known as coasting, and it's dangerous because it reduces your control of the vehicle. Question 39. You're driving in a built-up area that has traffic calming measures. What should you do when you approach a road hump? C. Check your mirror and slow down. Many towns have road humps as part of traffic calming measures designed to slow down traffic. Reduce your speed when driving over them. If you go too fast, you could lose control or damage your car. Look out for pedestrians or cyclists while you're driving in these areas. Question 40. What helps to reduce traffic bunching on a motorway? A. Variable speed limits. Congestion can be reduced by keeping traffic at a constant speed. At busy times, maximum speed limits are displayed on overhead gantries. These can be varied quickly depending on the amount of traffic. By keeping to a constant speed on busy sections of motorway, overall journey times are normally improved. Question 41. You've been involved in an argument that's made you feel angry. What should you do before starting your journey? D. Calm down. If you're feeling upset or angry, you find it much more difficult to concentrate on your driving. You should wait until you've calmed down before starting a journey. Question 42. When may you stop on a motorway? D. In an emergency or breakdown. You shouldn't normally stop on a motorway, but there may be occasions when you need to do so. If your vehicle breaks down or there's an emergency, stop on the hard shoulder and use the emergency telephones to call for assistance. Question 43. What should you do when you're driving in snowy conditions? D. Brake gently in plenty of time. In snowy conditions, be careful with the steering, accelerator and brakes. Braking sharply while you're driving on snow is likely to make your car skid. Question 44. The road is wet. Why would a motorcyclist steer around drain covers while they were cornering? B. To prevent the motorcycle sliding on the metal drain covers. Other drivers or riders may have to change course due to the size or characteristics of their vehicle. Understanding this will help you to anticipate their actions. Motorcyclists and cyclists will be checking the road ahead for uneven or slippery surfaces, especially in wet weather. They may need to move across the lane to avoid surface hazards such as potholes and drain covers. Question 45. What does fuel-efficient driving achieve? B. Improved road safety. The emphasis is on hazard awareness and planning ahead. By looking well ahead, you have plenty of time to deal with hazards safely and won't need to brake sharply. This will also reduce damage to the environment. Question 46. Where would you see this sign? D. On the rear of a school bus or coach. Vehicles that are used to carry children to and from school will be traveling at busy times of the day. If you're following a vehicle with this sign, be prepared for it to make frequent stops. It might pick up or set down passengers in places other than normal bus stops. Question 47. A driver's behavior has upset you. How can you get over this incident safely? A. Stop and take a break. If you feel yourself becoming tense or upset, stop in a safe place and take a break. Tiredness can make things worse and may cause a different reaction to upsetting situations. Question 48. Which vehicles are least likely to be affected by side wind? D. Cars. Although cars are the least likely to be affected, side winds can take anyone by surprise. This is most likely to happen after overtaking a large vehicle when passing gaps between hedges or buildings, and on exposed sections of road. Question 49. What does this curved arrow road marking mean? C. Overtaking traffic should move back to the left. In this picture, the road marking shows that overtaking drivers or riders need to return to the left. These markings show the direction drivers must pass. Hatch markings or solid double white lines. They're also used to show the route that high vehicles should take under a low arched bridge. Question 50. Following a collision, a person has been injured. What would be a warning sign for shock? D. Rapid shallow breathing. The effects of shock may not be immediately obvious. Warning signs to look for include bullet, a rapid pulse bullet, sweating bullet, pale gray skin bullet, rapid shallow breathing.